Did you just feel that? I think the earth farted. I don't know. Maybe I farted. What's that noise? Oh, man. Did that stuffed bunny just move? Huh.
LOUDdispatch. Hello and welcome to a special edition of Loud. You can say it with me?
Dispatch!
LOUDdispatch. That is correct. It is the special, what is it, Mark?
420 edition.
420 edition.
I believe this is episode 31.420, we'll call it.
.420. I like that. I like that. Cheers to that. Oh, you finished
Had
it.
to finish one. Cheers to that. Green
All right,
bottle
we'll
for
do another
420.
So Mark and I have partaken. As is tradition.
Yes.
As is tradition.
Yes.
And since we're on the topic of tradition, Mark, why don't you give us a little gander at the origins of St. Cannabis Day?
For those of you, St. Cannabis Day. So
do you like that?
I do like that a lot.
Can we dub that?
I really do.
That? We'll dub that. St.
Cannabis Day. You heard it first here on LOUDdispatch.
LOUDdispatch.
All right. So, the 420 holiday, for those of you that aren't aware.
No. Let's start at the very beginning.
Well, I was going to,
why 420?
Well, there's lots of thoughts on why. We'll get into that.
Right.
So 420 is the smoking holiday. April 20th. There are many reasons why.
Couple of reasons.
So
Mark,
I'm going to get into reading here. 420, cannabis culture.
I would like to add that this is straight from Wikipedia.
Yes, this is Wikipedia.
This is also, if you're a stoner, this is also like common knowledge. But go ahead.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Hitler was born today.
Yeah, well,
but that's not part of it. But that's what people think.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, anyways, 420, 4:20, or 4/20,
like
pronounced
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
At 4:20 in the afternoon.
One's 420.
Yeah.
One is the month and one is the time.
Yes.
Pronounced 420 is cannabis culture slang for marijuana and hashish consumption.
Oh.
Especially smoking around the time 4:20 p.m.
That is true.
That is true.
That is true,
but that's a more younger...
Do you remember on the X they used to have the pause for the cause?
Yeah, pause for the cause. Yeah.
Right.
Wait, you skip stuff. And also refers to cannabis-oriented celebration that takes place annually on April 20th.
April 20th, which is today.
Yep, which is 420.
Wow, that's amazing.
In U.S. format. Okay, so in 1971, 5 high school students in San Rafael, California, five, used the term 420 in connection with a plan to search for an abandoned cannabis crop.
Wow.
Based on a treasure map made by the grower.
Okay, so let's pause real quick.
There, it's a weird-ass adventure.
That's a weird adventure, but you know what? In high school, 5 kids looking for a cannabis crop, right?
I think it was college, right? Maybe it was high school.
No, it says high school.
It does.
Yeah.
I just read that.
Yeah. So 4 kids find a map that a grower supposedly made that had a crop of plants, and their whole thing was that they were going to meet at 4:20 p.m. to go look for it. They called themselves the Waldos.
All right. So yes,
go for it.
Calling themselves the Waldos, basically because their typical hangout spot was a wall outside the school. The 5 students, Steve Capper, Dave Reddix, Jeffrey Knoll, Larry Schwartz, and Mark Gravich, designated the Louis Pasteur statue on the grounds of San Rafael High School as their meeting place.
That's the statue. There is a picture on their high school.
There's a picture of it on this Wikipedia page.
There is. And
4:20 p.m. as their meeting time. The Waldos refer to this plan with the phrase 420 Louis. After several failed attempts to find the crop, the group eventually shortened their phrase to 420, which ultimately evolved into a code word the teens used to refer to consuming cannabis.
They were like 420, Lewis, and then finally it was just like,
so it started with the time, is what we're gathering here, right?
Yeah. They're meeting at a statue on their high school grounds at 420.
All right, so here's where this comes from.
For weed.
So Steve Hager of High Times was responsible for popularizing the story of the Waldos.
He was.
The first High Times mention of 420 smoking and 420 holiday appeared in May of 1991. And the connection to the Waldos appeared in December of 1998.
Wait a second, 91?
Yep.
So you're saying this is the 30th anniversary of it?
It would be.
Of that
first
mentioning
High
of the
Times
Waldos?
mention. Yeah.
And like the explanation of like
But it appeared in
420?
May, so it would be May of 1991.
Right, but what I'm saying is
Yeah.
this would still be like the 30th anniversary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we're on the 30th anniversary.
Okay.
Wait, what was
anyway,
the?
Go ahead.
Oh, at 19. We're on the 50th anniversary of when this started, though.
Right.
So
The
that's. I
50th
think it's more
anniversary.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. So, let me figure out where I was. Yeah.
Right in here.
Yeah. Okay. Hey. Thanks, Mom.
Can you tell?
Hager attributed the early spread of the phrase to Grateful Dead followers after Waldo Reddix became a roadie for the Grateful Dead's bassist, Phil Lesh.
That's some stuff.
That's awesome.
That's
and
pretty
called
deep.
for 4:20 p.m. to be the socially accepted time of the day to consume marijuana. Or cannabis, actually, is what it says.
Yes, that is what it says.
International Day for Cannabis-related protests and events. April 20th has become an
You know what? Fuck that. We're not protesting.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you know what? Fuck all that shit. We don't talk about politics here.
That's pretty much what we wanted to get at. We wanted to get at the history of 420. And, like, now it's turned into, like, a whole day, like a whole event. You know what I mean? Like, May 4th. Like, May the 4th be with you. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Let it be May.
But, yeah, exactly. But it's not to this point yet. What I'm saying is that 420 has actually been around for a long time. You know
So
what
this
I mean?
one's awesome because if anybody gets me
cool.
this,
Yeah.
signs bearing the number 420 have been frequently stolen in Colorado, or stolen, period. Damn. In Colorado, the Colorado Department of Transportation replaced the mile marker 420 sign on I-70 east of Denver with one reading 419.99 in an attempt to stop the thievery. Got a penny?
Penny for your thoughts.
However, the folklore of 419.99 sign has caused it to be stolen too.
Unbelievable. That's pretty good, though. That is pretty good.
Great.
That's pretty good. Do you think that you could find one of those on Amazon, like a 420? Like
Not on
sign,
Amazon.
like
I mean, you could find like a fake, but to get the real one, you need to look on eBay.
Unlike the dark net.
That's on. Oh,
The dark
where'd
net.
I go?
I don't know. Hold on.
I can't hear
Are you
myself.
back? There you
Yeah, I'm
are.
back. Okay.
All right.
Did I spike it?
I don't know, man. We're just rolling with it. There might have been there was cannabis consumed.
In 2003, the bill that helped California introduce regulated medical marijuana was California Senate Bill 420.
So
even the government's accepting it.
Here's my thing, okay? So, like, our parents and our grandparents, more or less our grandparents went through Prohibition, right? Where they actually had to have, like, speakeasies and, like, but, like, the thing was they outlawed alcohol, right? And they were like, you're not allowed to drink alcohol.
Prohibition.
Meanwhile, but what did people do?
They fucking made alcohol and sold it in speakeasies.
And they figured out a way around it, right? So
we're gonna make prison hooch here one day too. I know how to do that.
Oh my God, we're not making prison
Yes,
hooch.
the fuck we're not.
Anyway, the point that I'm getting at is that was prohibition for alcohol, right? And if you think about it, right, we're in a prohibition of marijuana right now because marijuana is actually one of those plants that, like, and it's going to go on for years. This is not something.
It's not going away.
But both of us have small children, and by the time that they're old enough to understand what it is.
Use the term children loosely.
Yeah.
At the age they're at, they're more like monsters.
They are more like they're definitely more like monsters. Definitely more like monsters, and very demanding too.
Oh Christ, right?
It's not like I want.
No.
It's like I need. Anyway, but what I'm getting at is that, like, by the time that our kids are old enough to understand it, like, I can only imagine it's going to be totally a different ball game. It's going to be a totally different subject matter.
Just since it started being legalized in. What the fuck is this? Nobody cares. We can't say that. Go away.
Oh my God!
I had to close the window.
I don't know what that was.
That
all
was not
about.
an ad
Sorry.
we can approve.
Sorry, yeah.
Although it is a good beer. Yes. In the since 2003, there.
What I'm saying,
it has gone from what we would call swag and
Yeah.
like occasional
Well,
good kind bud.
I'm talking. Let's even go back to the 70s because, like, let's face it, the crop that these kids were gonna get.
Oh, it was crap compared to what
Probably
I
gonna be
mean.
crap.
It's
Right now, like what you can find, and like what if you have a medical card, like you can go to the dispensary and literally pick like anything you want. I mean, like it's incredible to me.
And not
the
only that, the
selection.
forms, the methods of delivery have gone from just the flour
right.
to oil bases, wax bases. There's
so
concentrates,
many shatters.
yeah,
I mean, like there's so many different ways. Edibles,
crystals. The way they're mixing things, edibles. We're gonna someday. You all might see the July 4th footage of Cheech.
You never
literally
will.
unfunctioning.
If you saw our couch gag for this, you would know
It
that's
wasn't. It was worse than that.
It was way worse than that because
He
I
couldn't
didn't
even
even
look at you.
I didn't even look up. I was just like
It
I was
so
contemplating reality. It was terrible. It was not good at all.
So I'm saying, and in the
Yeah.
state of Pennsylvania, I'm
Yeah.
going to bet that within
Yeah.
2 years it's going to be recreationally legal.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you on
I
that.
think the way that our government's pushing Wolf and Fetterman and all that, not that that's what we're talking about, but
no, not to get political, but
yeah, but I do
like,
think that legally
but-
it's gonna be recreationally legal here within a year or two.
So here's where I'm at, right? Like,
And I don't care
let's-
what federal says as long as they stay the fuck
talk,
out of it.
Let's talk real quick about reefer madness, right? Okay.
They have cum stains on their pants from constant masturbation.
Bro, like, did you ever see the video of the dude like playing piano and smoking a cigarette? Like, dude, I have never.
That's cocaine, people.
Listen to me. I have had every sativa you can possibly imagine, and I can't do that when I'm smoking a sativa, let alone an indica or a hybrid.
I can't do that sober.
That's crazy. My man is like, and like they're raping girls and stuff.
Yeah,
And then-
like
now let's fast forward to like the 60s and 70s when we had like
peace
the
and
hippies,
love
right?
and
like weed was like weed, and like our parents tell us about like, oh, a dime bag used to be like 3 fingers full.
yeah.
You know
Well,
why?
I remember
Because-
when a dime bag cost a dime.
I remember
Willie
when a
Nelson.
dime- yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You want to know how much condoms cost?
How much?
I don't know. We didn't use them.
He
Stole
made it
that
funny.
joke.
Anyway, but like what I'm getting at is that like it's so crazy to me to think that like we've come this far. So like in 10 more years, where are we going to be? Now that we're able to actually like test on it and like research it and build this to like what it is, like the flower that we smoke now compared to the 70s, compared to like the reefer madness days, has like exponentially gotten better because we've learned about cross pollination and like the
All right.
botany of it.
I don't want to get into politics or anything here, but
No.
does anybody know why it's illegal? Have you ever seen Adam
do.
Ruins Everything?
Go for it, lay on.
It basically, they needed a demon to demonize, so they demonized Mexicans and pot at one point, and it was basically the government's way of keeping people on their toes. You know, you got to make somebody bad so that you good guys have something to do.
See, that's not what I heard.
Well, and then you know, the reason it has not become legal since, a main part of it is the lobbyists pushing. Hemp can destroy a lot of different textile industries, you know, paper,
Yeah.
clothing,
That's what I was
salves
getting
and stuff.
at, yeah.
But it was originally made illegal because I think it was, I want to say Truman. I don't, you know, I'm not super historical with the presidents and stuff, but one of the presidents needed the DEA, basically, they needed a drug task force. They needed a reason to have something to do.
Right.
You know,
right,
and so
right.
they made up this demon drug,
The
and
war
people
on
were
drugs.
scared of what
Yeah.
they said. People were scared of Mexicans. I'm not. I love Mexicans,
Whatever,
but
dude.
they said that, and so that's what made it originally legal. It was literally a plot to control the public, and so. For those of you that don't know, I mean, that's the only reason it's illegal in America right now.
Not only that too, but like getting back to it, like the reason why there were so many lobbyists for it was because cotton was such a big industry.
Yeah.
Cotton was such a big
Tobacco
industry.
too. I mean,
And the
you know,
fact
I'd
that-
rather smoke a joint than a cigarette any day.
But here's the thing, though: the fact that like hemp was so much more superior to like the cotton industry, and it was so much easier to grow and get and like do everything with, But like because the cotton mills were like so popular and so big and made so much money, they were able to lobby for that to
Yeah.
be incorrect and for the,
They could pay enough
and they
money
can
to
help
keep it illegal.
make it illegal. That's
Now-
where the Reefer Madness campaigns come
Now
from
something
and
you're
stuff.
seeing though is hemp is becoming a big
Absolutely,
product
big
again,
seller, right.
and so with that, I think it's part of the movement. People are seeing the money involved in it.
Yeah.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, if nothing else, your greed should push for it.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I'm getting political. So, anyways, I just
I feel you though. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like here's my thoughts on this because we're only making this a special. We're gonna make this a short special.
yeah.
But still,
We're not even timing this one, are we?
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are.
we
Okay.
are. Come on, man.
Oh fuck, we got time. All right.
Come on. But like what I'm getting at is that like the fact that like weed has become one of those things where it's like socially acceptable again, which was something that happened in like the 60s and 70s and something that happened obviously during Reefer Madness, right? Like the jazz era, like, oh, you have to smoke weed, just play jazz. Like,
No.
that's so ridiculous.
Again, that's coke.
Now, with that being said, Mark and I both have smoked so much before shows. It was like a tradition, right? Like you had to.
There are people who smoke, and then there are people who can smoke,
Yeah.
and we are people who can smoke.
Yeah.
I could, you could meet me at any point in the day, and you'd have no idea. You know,
I'll be completely honest.
I
with
don't.
you.
I'm very. We're both very responsible adults too. You know, I want if my work ever listens to this, you guys, most of you already know. Like, I don't ever smoke before
Yeah.
or during work.
My work ethic is
driving, I
ridiculous.
don't drive high.
Yeah.
You know, but it is something I like to do when I'm home.
It's very like it's one of those things that's very containable and like you
Get your
know,
shit
you
done
have
first, kids.
You have your like I work a lot. I am very stressed out and like honestly, it just like relaxes me. It puts me there's so many purposes that it serves. It's unbelievable.
When did you start to smoke? What was your first time? Do you remember it?
Yes, I do actually. That's a great topic. Let's
Yeah.
talk about this. So the first time I'm going to talk about
remember mine.
2 points because there were 2
Good.
points that I specifically remember. The first time I got high was a contact high. We were riding in a car from our practice facility to a Taco Bell because that's what we did every day. I was in a band. I was in a band called the Sidewalk Berserkers, and we went from the practice facility to Taco Bell after every practice. We practiced like 2 or 3 times a week. So all these dudes that worked at Taco Bell knew us. They knew we were coming in and dropping like all this money. Anyway, I'm in the car with like this dude who's our new guitar player. His name is Jesus. So that's what we called him because he had this long hair
Jesus.
and he was a hippie. And he had this pipe that literally sat around his neck like a harmonica fucking holder. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds awesome.
So we're in this Geo Metro, and I'm like 420 pounds, and my man is just like smoking while we're driving and like hotboxing the car. And I'm like, hey, I'm 13. I'm like, this is cool.
It's kinda nice.
Actually, no, I was 12. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. This is all right, you know, whatever. And we get to like Taco Bell, and the first thing I remember is walking out of the car and being like, I am so hungry. Oh my God, I ordered the entire menu. How much money do I have on me? And I ordered like seriously. I used to be 420 pounds. I ordered at least at minimum like probably $20 or $30 worth of tacos and just house that shit. And everybody's just looking
Been
at
there.
me like,
Been there.
what is going on with him? And I was like so in the zone with tacos. It was just like taco sauce, eat. But the first time I actually vividly remember getting high, like actually like getting high,
Intentionally, like
yeah,
you
like
smoked
intentionally, like we're gonna do this. I was 13. We were getting ready to go to a show, and I want to say no. Actually, the show was Mephistopheles, who I really wanted to see. The Pilfers were opening for them, which Pilfers, if you don't know who they are, they're amazing. Look them up. And a band called Ska. I don't know.
It's okay, yeah, don't
It
worry
was
about
like a
it.
Satan worshiping ska band. Anyway,
Sounds awesome.
and Royal Crown Review. So we get there, and like before we head out, right? Like we're getting ready. We're sitting in the backyard, and we like pack up this bowl and we're all smoking, and we pack up another bowl and we smoke, and we all pack up another bowl and we smoke, and we get to the show, and I just remember them playing Reggae Gold 2000, and I'm just like, because it wasn't even like the year 2000, but like that's what the title of the CD was, and we were just like, this is amazing. Where has this music been all of our lives? Meanwhile, we've been in a ska band. Like that's what we were doing.
That's what you did, but
yeah, like we just
too high to remember.
Dude, we were so high, and then we went to Subway and ate like a shitload of sandwiches. But like anyway, Mark, what was your first time?
I'll do a two-parter here too. Okay,
All right, give me a two-parter.
Little pre-background.
Give me some background.
I grew up very religious.
How religious?
Super religious.
On a scale of 1 to religious, how religious?
A 1 to religious?
Yeah.
Walked with God. No, like super, super religious.
We shared footsteps.
Like, you know, I've seen things that we don't like religion on here either, so we won't get into that. But
nope.
I've seen things. I'm a very spiritual person still. Take that for what you want. So I grew up. So I was 17 the first time I smoked pot. My brother had smoked for years.
17?
Yep, I'd been around it.
Oh, you make me feel like such a terrible person.
I had been around it my whole life. My brother started like 12 or 13, you know, friends and stuff. You know, I played in bands that everybody else did. So I finally broke up with this girl.
Yeah.
Not finally. I broke up with this girl. She kind of crushed me. I went.
They all do.
Not all of them. I've let go some crazies. So we're out. We're doing our nightly, like picking up the people in the van, our friends, going out for the night. My brothers and friends are all smoking. You know, I'm riding in the back and in our minivan, and they're like, you know what, you should smoke tonight. And I was like, you know, I started smoking cigarettes a little while before that, and I was like, you know what, I will. I'll try this shit, you know. And meanwhile, I called everybody a bunch of fucking loser potheads before that, and I smoked, and it didn't hit me super hard, but I felt it, you know, and I really liked it. So
sure.
I have to be honest, it's pretty much been every day since, minus a couple of like months off here and there for different reasons, but
whatever that means.
You know, not every day. It's been a lot. So
sure.
The first time I got really high was shortly after that. A few weeks after that, we're at a friend's house. And we all took off school, you know.
That's what happens.
Yeah. We're hanging out. His mom's working. There's like 20 of us. We're shooting bottle rockets at each other. There's a barn. It's a farm, you know. There's a crew on the barn. And we're on the deck, and we're shooting bottle rockets at each other. I remember sitting on this cooler while the bottle rockets are flying around me and just too stoned to care. Only time I cared is when somebody wanted a beer from the cooler. I'd have to get up. And so you know, the night goes on. The day goes on. We're in the dining room. There's like 8 of us left. Everybody's smoking. I'm literally head in my arms on the table, like just nearly passed out. I'm still awake, but barely. And I am fucked up. And I remember it was like every 30, 40 seconds, it would get this really strong whiff of pot. And I was like, wow, you know, like they're smoking a lot. And then at some point, I don't know, I coughed or something. And I picked my head up, and I see all the smoke rise out of where my body had cupped it. And I look next to me, and one of my buddies, I think it was J-Dub, if I'm correct, is at the table, like, hitting a pipe, and he kept blowing it into my armpit. So it would come up underneath, and I'm literally, like, so I'm already as high as I've ever been in my life.
And now you're getting secondhand.
Like, they're just doubling it. Oh my God, it was. But I'll tell you what. I remember I went home. I looked at my brother at that point. I was like, dude, I gotta go. And like we were only 5-10 minutes from the house, and he laughed. He's like, all right, let's go. He took me home. I crashed for like 6.5, 7 hours.
Yeah.
You know, that might be my first 420 memory actually. I'm trying to remember. It was very close. Like I started in like end of March, beginning of April. So it might have been a 420 if I'm correct.
That's
why we took the day off. Yeah. But oh my God, dude! Wow, that was a good time. And so I, you know, been there since.
Yeah.
Been there since. But that was the first time where you're like, that thought where you're like, I'm too high.
Yeah,
you know, like I'm gonna die.
We always talk about like
the
4th of July episode. Like that was like.
That's how he felt.
I was in the zone. Let's put it that way. And okay, so final thoughts. Let's talk about your first time with edibles that like really like legit, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'll kick it off with my final thoughts and you can end it tonight.
Go ahead,
all
go ahead.
right? So, the first time I had edibles, we decided to make them. And we had like a basic knowledge of it. This is years ago. I was in college. I won't say any names, but there was 4 of us that decided to do it. One of which was in our band and was always like the biggest pothead out of us all. And like 2 of them like did it occasionally. The one never did it at all, like never smoked at all. So we decided to use like a half an ounce and we made
Jesus.
weed butter, yeah, and then we made like 1 tray of brownies. 1 tray of brownies
With a half ounce?
with a half ounce. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Let's pause for a second. So what we did was we each ate 1 brownie and we waited. And we waited. And we waited. And the first person who had never smoked before got so high that they had to leave the room and like be by themselves and like didn't know what was going on, had to go to sleep. Like it was bad.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
It was bad. Okay. So the remaining 3 of us decided, you know what? It's getting late. We're not feeling anything. Let's go back to my place and like we can chill there because that used to be the hangout place. We'll chill there. We'll take the brownies with us. We'll eat a couple more. See what happens. Smoke a bowl, whatever. And I think this was 420 actually. Now that I think about it. But anyway. So we get back to my place and we all decide to just, my buddy and I decide to just eat the rest of the tray. And then we were like, you know what? Like a half an hour has gone by and I'm still not feeling anything. I'm like, you know what? Let's smoke a bowl or 2. And I think we smoked like 3 or 4 because it was middies and it was terrible and it was what it was. So then the next memory that I have of that evening,
Was the next morning.
because when I lost an entire 24-hour period.
Oh my
I lost
God.
an entire 24-hour period. There was like there was a point where I literally stood for almost 2 hours like this. Waiting to press play on the VCR, bro, in my bedroom with just static on the TV. And the other person is like laying there and they're just like,
Like just time paused.
everything paused. It was so terrible. It was the worst experience of my life. And
So for those that don't know,
until the 4th of July.
Eating pot is a different monster, and I would suggest if it's your first time, 5 milligrams most.
Dude, if it's your
10,
first
if you're
time,
brave,
like,
10.
Test the waters.
I'm around 50 to 100 typically.
It hits you in different ways is all I'm saying.
But it depends on which one. But yeah, it metabolizes differently, guys. So it's
All
a
right.
different monster.
All right, so final thoughts.
All right, final thoughts.
What's
My
your first edible experience?
First,
that you like
first
fucking
edible experience. My first.
bad.
So I've had lots of edibles in my time, but they
Right.
never really kicked in hard. Mm-hmm. I've
That's-
also had a
that's what I
very
mean.
high tolerance most of my life. So
Sure.
first time we go to a friend's party,
Mm-hmm.
a little get together. It's just some friends. We're hanging out, and they have a great backyard pool and bar, and it's just a really nice setup. We have fire pit and stuff. It's really well done. So
Sure.
I get there. I'm out. I don't have anything. Usually they do, but they don't. Right? They're all really drinking. I'm driving that night, so I was like, not drinking. I would smoke a little bit if there was there early, and
Sure,
So he's like, hey,
sure.
I got. I'll be back. He runs down. He grabs 2 tinfoil packages, brings them up to me. They're small. There's 2 brownies, 1 in each one. Right?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
He says, and I will not name any names, but
Right,
he knows
right,
somebody at a very prominent Pittsburgh bakery who does this at Christmas time after hours. Right?
What, a baker doing that?
So he's like, here. He gives me both of them, and I'm like, awesome. Edibles don't really hit me, but
Sure.
what the hell? Why not? So I eat one, right? And I think at some point he had been like, just only take one of those,
Yeah.
and I was like,
yeah.
they don't hit me. So I crushed the second one. Almost done with the second one. He looks at me. He's like, did you eat both of those? And I looked at him. My wife's there, his wife and stuff. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah. I told you they don't hit me very hard. Don't worry. And they laughed and they were like, okay, cool. And by the way, I am very experienced at this.
Sure.
I'm sitting on this stool at the bar. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. We're talking. A couple hours go by, and his wife looks at me, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And it hit me. I'm sitting on this stool. I got my feet locked up on the top rung. My hands are like, I'm holding on to the fucking the seat, like between my legs.
Like you're riding a bull.
Like I'm about to take off on a rocket, right?
Right.
And I looked at her, and I was just like. Just this big exhale with a smile on my face, and I was like, "I'm great," and she starts laughing. She sends me memes the rest of the night of like cats flying through space on like magic carpets and shit. And I'm literally like most of the night I was holding on to this stool. I was just like, I'm good. I feel great. I was so fucked up. I didn't realize that like 2 hours had passed, and I was literally involved in everything and had no recollection of any of it. It was so much fun. And then, usually edibles die for me after 4 hours. Nothing lasts longer. I've never had one last longer than 4 hours.
Okay.
So I was there, and I sobered up and was able to drive responsibly and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to point that out because we are very about responsibility here.
Sure.
You don't be a dickhead.
No.
But it was really, really, really fun. And so that prompted me to research what's going on. And sometimes, eating before you eat an edible, eating a big protein meal is very good for it. There are foods that will kill it, and there are foods that will help it. So I do suggest looking that up. Maybe we'll post an article about that.
Absolutely. We're also going to post that Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I'm going to post another article as well it backs up what I was saying about why weed is illegal. It was essentially government racism from the beginning.
Yeah,
so I want to post that because people need to know the fucking truth.
Regardless, hold up 1 second. So with that being said, happy 420 to everybody out there who is celebrating with us.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
That did not clink at all. There we go.
Okay. So we just wanted to say cheers to you guys. We have partaken. Happy 420.
We hope you do too.
And in all honesty, I can't wait for next year because I have a shitload more stories that
God, yeah.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. And yeah, hopefully you guys will still be watching. At any rate, this is Loud Dispatch, 31, 4.2, 4.20?
Yep.
420?
No, 31.420.
There you go.
All right. Peace, guys.
Bye.